They say that when you look up at the night sky, you're staring into infinity. Thousands of stars visible with the naked eye, millions more with a telescope. And yet, across that endless canvas, there's a question so obvious and so unsettling that it has kept scientists, philosophers, and dreamers awake for decades. If the universe is truly this vast, and if life is not a miracle but a natural consequence of physics and chemistry, then where is everybody? Why don't we hear them? Why don't we see them? This question is what we call the Fermi Paradox, and at its core lies the great silence. Let's start with something simple. There are an estimated 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. Each of those galaxies has hundreds of billions of stars. Around those stars, planets spin. Many of those planets are rocky, just like Earth. Some sit in what scientists call the habitable zone, where liquid water could exist on the surface. Statistically, the numbers should explode with possibility. If even 1% of stars have Earth-like planets, and even 1% of those planets developed life, and even 1% of those life forms evolved intelligence, we should be surrounded by neighbors. It should be noisy out there. But when we turn our radios to the sky, all we get is static. That quiet isn't just strange, it's terrifying. The Fermi Paradox is named after physicist Enrico Fermi, who in 1950 casually asked over lunch, "Where is everybody?" He looked at the probabilities, the sheer numbers involved, and concluded that if intelligent life were common, we would have encountered evidence by now. Yet, decades later, despite all our efforts, the only confirmed life we know of is right here on Earth. This disconnect between expectation and observation is the paradox. And the silence it echoes louder with every discovery of exoplanets, every mission that shows us just how common Earth-like worlds might be. So, what's going on? Let's explore possibilities. Some explanations are comforting. One idea is that intelligent life is incredibly rare. Maybe the steps that lead from simple chemistry to complex organisms are almost impossibly unlikely. Yes, microbes might be everywhere. Yes, alien oceans might teem with bacteria-like life. But the leap from a single-celled organism to a creature that builds radio telescopes and starships could be a fluke. On Earth, it took nearly 4 billion years to get from bacteria to humans. Perhaps we underestimate just how fragile and unlikely intelligence is. If that's true, then maybe we really are alone or one of the very few. That would make us precious, but it would also put a heavy responsibility on our shoulders. Because if we're rare, then our survival matters more than we ever imagined. Another possibility, life is common, but intelligence is fragile. Civilizations rise, they fall, and they vanish long before they can make themselves known across the stars. Think about human history. We've had agriculture for about 10,000 years. We've had radio for barely more than a century. Our species could be wiped out tomorrow by war, by climate disaster, by disease, by something as small as a rock from space. The universe has been around for 13.8 billion years. What are the odds that two civilizations happen to exist at the same time, within shouting distance of each other, and survive long enough to exchange greetings? The silence might not mean that no one else exists. It might mean that civilizations are like sparks in the dark, flashing briefly, then gone before anyone notices. Then there's the Great Filter Theory. This idea suggests that there's some near impossible barrier in the chain from life to intelligence to galactic civilization. Maybe the filter is behind us, life rarely begins, and we've beaten the odds. Or maybe the filter is ahead, something awaits all civilizations, a hurdle so deadly that none make it past. Nuclear war, artificial intelligence gone rogue, ecological collapse, cosmic disasters. If the filter lies in our future, then the silence is a warning. It's not that aliens don't exist, it's that none survive long enough to call out. But let's imagine the opposite. Suppose intelligent life is everywhere, flourishing across the galaxy. Then why don't we see them? Perhaps they're hiding. Think of the dark forest hypothesis. Imagine the universe as a dark forest where every civilization is a hunter. To reveal yourself is to risk being destroyed. In this scenario, silence is survival. Civilizations cloak themselves, avoid broadcasts, remain invisible. We don't hear them not because they aren't there, but because they're wise enough not to shout. After all, we don't know who's listening. And so, we return to that simple, haunting question, where is everybody? The universe doesn't answer. Not yet. All we have is the silence, vast and endless. But maybe, one day, the silence will break. And when it does, the universe will never feel the same again.